Welcome to another All Nation video. Today I want to talk a little bit about our efforts to help modelers convert their 3-rail engines to 2-rail in the diesel category. So what you see before you in this video right now are two Blomberg trucks fully assembled with all-wheel pickup. And we went with the chain drives and a slightly extended or higher tower for better alignment to motor drive shafts. So take your 3-rail diesel engine and convert it to 2-rail. A lot of the time, basically all you have is the body or shell as a starting point. As in this case here, this happens to be a Lionel GP-35, and the way we've tried to help with these type of conversions is to use our 3D printing technology to build out a chassis that simply drops in. This is one example that would just drop into the body. The motor happens to be a fairly large motor, and the trucks will just fit in here nicely, and then we connect up the drive shafts and you should be good to go, ready to run on 2-rail DC. So that's where we're going to also facilitate this with MTH in the GP series of locomotives using these Blomberg trucks, and the option to have a single drive power, or in this case a dual power, will also help with the cost of implementing your solutions to converting to 2-rail. As you can see, the chassis just sits on top of the Blomberg trucks with the kingpins on either end. A C-clip will hold these on. The wires are not attached yet to the motor for wiring, but the option is either 2-rail DC, or if the modeler wishes to go to DCC, should be able to accommodate that. So what happens is we have the rear and the front, and the body will just slip down on this chassis and can be mounted, and you're pretty much ready to go. Throw on a couple of couplers and your engine is operationally ready for your layout. Here's a side view with the chassis sitting on top of the Blomberg trucks. They align with the kingpins on the rear and the kingpin on the front of the platforms, and then there will be the drive shafts connecting both ends. And this particular model is ready to roll, literally. Now, we're not showing the wiring connected here yet, but that's optional. If you wish to go that route, you may prefer DCC. But in any case, this body will just drop right on top of this chassis and can be mounted however the modeler desires. Add a couple of couplers and you're ready to have an operational locomotive on 2-rail. Okay, the GP-35 chassis is ready to run. The motor is a 7-pole motor, and what I did was to kind of a do-it-yourselfer connection between the tower drives to the drive shafts, and experimenting, making both ends the same and adjusting for the slight difference in length. So the tubing I used is plastic tubing like this. Happens to be the right diameter. And I found this by taking apart this pump action device out of this product and repurposing these tubings, and they've come in very handy. They're very strong. They're somewhat a little bit pliable, so there's not a metal to metal connection between the tower drive and the motor. It isolates it, plus the fact that I think the tubing makes for a quieter drive, and it does have, like I say, this little bit of flexing. It's very tough. So what I've done is I've used brass inserts that I created through two different sizes of brass tubing that are telescoped on this end and on this end. Used 080 screws to assure that the brass inserts do not turn inside the tube, and I use a very high-end universal joint on both ends, and this tends to run very smooth. Now this is wired for 2-rail DC, and potentially this engine could be a power on board system or DCC, but on my test track, which is rather a noisy test track, this will demonstrate the performance of the drive that has given me this conversion from a 3-rail engine to a 2-rail. So just to conclude this video, I want to make a few points. So the engine is nearly complete. It needs couplers. Could use some air tanks on the side, just some minor detail work that the modeler can facilitate. The modeler could even put a different paint job on this engine with a different road and decal it. So there's a lot of options. But my primary goal for doing 3-rail to 2-rail conversion and doing such a customized bit of work was to try to achieve good performance, good electrical pickup, a solid mechanism, a mechanism that's going to run for many, many years. And a key feature is the fact that the entire mechanism and chassis can be broken down and put all back together again if any maintenance needs to be done in the future. So it's not a difficult task. I also wanted to offer a lot of different options, such as single drive or dual drive capability in your engine. One of the other factors that complicates this a little bit is there's many different types of 12-volt DC motors that can be installed in the engine, but the brackets in the middle that support the motor will differ in the mounting of the motors. So with 3D printing, it's fairly easy to customize and print a chassis that's going to fit, but the two main platforms for the front and the rear don't change at all. They fit nicely into the body, and the trucks mount very well, just like our traditional F3 and F7 units with a kingpin. And so I think, considering those types of features, plus the fact that our drives, especially the chain drives, are customized with the sprockets, we can actually calibrate those sprockets so that the chain has the right amount of tension. It's not, if the chain is stretched too tight, it's going to probably pop off. If it's too loose and sloppy, it's not good either. So we can tweak the parameters on the sprockets and print a sprocket that is the ideal size for any of these Blomberg trucks in any tower size or height. So those are some of the considerations, and a project like this takes a lot of time and sometimes a little bit of thinking ahead when you go to tackle this, and we will provide some of these ready to run or in component kit forms on our website. So you could actually take and do a build like this piecemeal at a time. And there's something to be said for custom hand-built models like this. You'll get many years of service once they're done. They're going to look great. They're going to pull all your trains, and you will definitely get some compliments from your fellow model railroaders in O-Scale to Rail. Thanks for watching. Bye now.